So I am here to talk about the Servant Leadership Board model. Before we get into that, I think it's important to review our current administrative structure. Currently, there are committees on finance, lay leadership, SPRC, which is the Staff Parish Relations Committee, stewardship, and trustees. The chairs of each one of those committees are part of Church Council. There are some challenges with this model. It currently involves about 45 people because each one of those committees is meeting individually, and then there are some additional church council meetings. There are lots and lots of meetings. There are also some overlapping responsibilities because multiple committees are involved in parts of the same project, which can result in a lack of accountability and some cumbersome decision making. An example would be our current budget process. Right now, it takes 5 to 6 months to develop our annual budget. That begins in about late spring, early summer, when Kathy Smith will send out worksheets to all the committees asking for information about what they would like to budget for programming in the upcoming year. Those worksheets go back to the Finance Committee. The Finance Committee would compile those and follow up with the committees that they haven't heard back from. So they're working on the expense side. The next piece would be the Stewardship Committee. So beginning in about June, they start to meet to develop their plan for the stewardship campaign, to bring in pledges for the upcoming year. And then the third piece would be the Staff Parish Relations Committee, where we're talking about performance reviews and merit increases. It's really hard to budget when you don't know how much money you have to work with. So really we need to wait until all the pledges come in, which takes about until November for that information to come in. At that point, we have a better idea of how much money we can work with. So information might need to go back to the committees so they can rework their plans. There's some back and forth between the committees and the finance team. Ultimately, it would work its way to church council, and then after that, it would need to go to the church conference. So that's a long run, drawn out process to get that budget going, and that's just one example. So what happens is that our current administrative structure is driving the mission of the church rather than it being the other way around, to have the mission of the church driving our structure. And we know that the mission of our church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. Last June, there were 9 individuals from Church Council who attended an informational presentation at annual conference that was provided by Dick Jones. Dick Jones is a retired United Methodist pastor from the Milwaukee area, and he was talking about the Accountable Leadership Board model. Those of us that attended that presentation were impressed and intrigued by the model and the strengths of it. So we asked Dick to come back and give us some additional information at our board meeting in September. The board unanimously decided to move forward with this model. Again, this is just the administrative side of the church. So what this model would be a single board model. So rather than having multiple teams, we would have one administrative board with representatives for different areas. So the board would be about 9 to 12 people. There would be a chairperson, 2 SPRC representatives, 2 trustee representatives, a couple finance representatives, a lay member to annual conference, and then some at-large members. There are some definite advantages to this process in that some of those processes that are cumbersome and difficult, for example, budgeting, would be streamlined and improved. So as the board is meeting, the entire board would be working as the team that they are discussing a topic for. For example, if it is a finance-related issue, then everybody on the board represents the finance committee. If it is an issue related to staffing, for example, everybody on the board would represent SPRC. This means that some decisions will happen much quicker than they have in the past, because we would be working with fewer individuals on the board than we have in the past. It means that more people are able to get out and serve in ministry than they currently can do. We do know that people want to be involved. They want to do, but they don't necessarily want to sit in meetings learning about how they can be involved. And this provides more of an opportunity to do that sort of thing. The focus of board meetings will be a little bit different than it currently is. We'll spend half the time on developing spiritually and that sort of thing. And then we'll be focusing more on our mission and our goals for the church. A couple things to remember. All board meetings right now are open, with the exception of SPRC issues that require confidentiality. You are welcome to attend council meetings. You would also be welcome to attend any of the board meetings going forward. In addition to that, we intend to have regular town hall type meetings where we can present information about what we have been discussing, our plans for moving forward. This only impacts the administrative committees of the church. There would be very little, if any, impact on the ministry teams, such as children and family, the missions group. Those groups would not be impacted at all. And there may be times where additional folks would be invited to attend board meetings to provide additional insight into what they're working on. So there are a couple of things that we will be putting in place to move forward. We will be having 2 question and answer sessions this week. There will be one tomorrow, another on Wednesday here at the church at 6 o'clock. You are welcome to bring any questions that you may have. In preparation for that, we have prepared a frequently asked questions handout that you can receive at the end of church if you are interested in doing that. There are a number of us that are working on developing some guiding principles, specifically in regard to the mission, accountability, and boundary principles that will help provide support and accountability for the work that the board does. We will be asking for applications for additional individuals that would like to serve on the board. If this is something that interests you, please let us know so that we can get that information over to you. And finally, we hope to have a church conference in about May or so that we can formally present this to the church to get it approved and then move forward. So thank you very much.